this is a great meeting, and it's essential, and there should be 50 more meetings like this. And I'm afraid if we don't have 50 more meetings like this, we're in serious trouble for the following reasons. So I want to inject a note of political pessimism and urgency into the discussion. It's based on the following syllogism. Democracy rests on a free and independent and transparent press, media. 2, media is going through enormous turmoil on the print side, on the broadcasting side, et cetera. Ergo, we may be seeing democracy at risk. Now, I'm not saying it's an automatic syllogism, but what I want to do is, as we think about business models, reintroduce the notion of why we ultimately care about this, because it does have something to do with representation and openness and freedom and democracy. And my fear is that if those of you in this room don't get this right pretty soon, the quality of democracy in the United States of America is going to start to decline and stagnate, and it will be our fault. Strong letter to follow. Let me suggest why I think that's the case. Let me put on my Corporation for Public Broadcasting hat. So I'm the longest-serving member on CPB. I'm not speaking on behalf of CPB in my personal capacity, but we are seeing loss in market share on the television side. We're seeing stagnation on the radio side. The stuff that we do is fabulous for the groups that we do it for, but we are frankly way behind the curve in adjusting in public service media to what is taking place on new digital platforms. It's enormously frustrating. It's ridiculous. Public service media was designed to serve the underserved, to create a public sphere, to create dialogue and discussion. To me, this sounds like the features of digital media. It's interactive, it's online communities. The fact of the matter is, especially at our beloved local stations, which are among the last local voices in any of our communities around the United States of America, by the way, with Clear Channel, et cetera, they simply are not doing that. The national organizations are trying, God bless them, to move this forward, but if we continue at the same slow pace, we will have less public service media and we will have a poorer democracy as a consequence. So therefore, as we think about business models, which are hugely important, and I spend much of my deanly life, putting on my dean hat, going around raising money, talking to people at Fox and NBC Universal, et cetera, and as other people on the panel have said, they don't have a clue. But they sure are working faster than we are in public service media to try to figure this out. They're throwing stuff on the wall to see what sticks. We aren't doing that with the same alacrity, but what we are doing is much more important because it will support a non-commercial public space that we want our children and our grandchildren to watch, untainted by commercialism. So this is a really big deal. Let me just give you an example of the way public broadcasting has been funded. For more than 300 stations, we get something on the order of $450 million. That's chump change. That is absolutely chump change when you consider the quality of the work that's being done in your local communities and by the national producers. But it's ridiculous. Thank goodness the foundation, some of the private foundations represented in this room, have also been supportive of initiatives, of trying to support innovation. The local stations do their pledge drives and you end up with a mug or a glass of water or something like that. That certainly isn't bringing home the bacon. So we are in real trouble, and it's not going to be solved. This trouble is not going to be solved only within the public broadcasting system, for the same reason that the newspaper, fixing the newspaper is not going to get fixed by the people in the, there in the newspaper, because they're absolutely shell-shocked. They're not hiring people. They're letting between 1,500 and 2,000 employees go per year. So, what do we have to do to fix this? And I mean all of us in the room. Well, I have a mapping graphic here, slightly old school. Can you all see that? These are 4 vertical things that we could call silos. Okay, they're 4 silos. We've got a print silo over here. We've got a Freudian slip, a digital media discourse in the middle. We've got a public broadcasting discourse taking place over here in the corner that people don't pay too much attention to. And we've got a commercial discourse about democracy that is completely non-existent because the FCC has said if you're a commercial medium, you really don't have to pay too much attention to multiple voices or free access, et cetera. So we've got these 4 silos that could be addressing democracy. If we remain siloed, we will not be able to solve the problem of public service media. Each of the silos has something to bring. The print discourse people have a passionate commitment to democracy and media. They really think it's important for some odd reason. And they're brokenhearted that their medium is broken. The digital media folks, many of us in the room, look at interactivity and online communities and user-generated content, and we see the potential of that. The public broadcasting folks I've talked about already, that's in our DNA. The commercial people, I don't think they really pay attention to that. What we have got to do is find a way to enhance our communication and in mutual engagement across the 4 silos. Because none of you in the room operating in any one of these single silos, with all due respect, has the political clout nor the imagination to do it by yourself. If we rely only on the silos operating, we will not come up with inventive business models. We will not redefine the audience. So, for example, in public television, which is now between 1 and 7, then we write them off until they're 47. And then we have programming for them until soon after they die, when we stop our programming. There is very few media voices, minority voices, in between 8 and 46. So what should we do? Well, number one, we need to realize that this is a political issue. I really strongly disagree with the last panelists who said, oh, we don't need an agenda. We'll just sort of do things, and in a sort of a libertarian way, it'll all work out. That may be true for you, but I can assure you the National Association of Broadcasters has an agenda. I can assure you that the Motion Pictures Association of America, they have an agenda. And if you don't have an agenda, you'll probably lose. So in conclusion, let me just suggest that we need more of these kinds of conversations. They need to be more proactive. They need to be programmatic. What are the 4 issues we need to address? The foundations need to get themselves better organized. And those of us who receive public funds or who would receive public funds need to continue these kinds of conversations, but at a much more detailed and politically sophisticated level.